And this is, of course, the Rudy Giuliani show. So we want to start off by straightening something out because this is starting to get to the point of completely idiotic, ignorant, stupid, moronic. Oh, gosh, could you come up with a few more to help me? The Israelis are now being blamed for the civilian deaths that occurred when they extracted their refugees. So let's get this picture straight. Hamas, which is part of the Palestinians, right, came into Israel in October of last year. They slaughtered 1,200 innocent people. Didn't just slaughter them, they raped them, they beheaded them, they humiliated them. Oh, gosh almighty. They acted like the Huns, right? And like they are, like the barbarian animals that they are, who are dedicated to the destruction of the Jewish people and the destruction of Christians, and who take an interpretation of the Quran to its, well, take an interpretation of the Quran. Let me say no more than that, which does talk about killing Jews and Christians, and take it seriously. And they're on there. They have been dedicated for I don't know how many years, 40, 50, to the elimination of the Jewish people, to the elimination of Christianity, to the elimination of the infidels, to the creation of the Islamic State, which is, of course, what Iran is all about. If we want to go back on this, if we want to go back with regard to this issue of, if we want to go back with regard to this issue of anti-Semitism and trying to eliminate the Jewish people, they, of course, were allies of the Nazis. The Grand Mufti spent a great deal of time with Hitler, very much interested in making sure that the Jewish people were eliminated. And this is of course extremely, very much a part of what they're all about. So the IDF pulled off one of its great, bold, brave, only they can do it, and the Americans, their ability to rescue the hostages without losing one. Tragically, much like Entebbe, which of course we all remember, Entebbe was a raid many years ago, led by Bibi Netanyahu's brother, that saved all of the hostages, and he was the only one lost. Here, the leader also was the only one lost. I think it was Colonel Zamora. And now the issue is, how many civilians were killed? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? What were the civilians doing there? Why would Hamas have civilians around the hostages, other than to get them killed if the hostages were going to be rescued? You're not allowed to rescue hostages because you take Palestinian civilians and put them around your hostages? Palestinians, almost to a person, hate Jews and want to kill Jews. Stop all the nonsense with Palestinians coming to America. The Palestinians are taught from the age of 2 to kill Jews and Americans. We don't want to kill them. We don't want to kill civilians, but if they get in the way of our saving our people, they get in the way. It's their fault. And don't waste a lot of time on it. We've killed a lot more civilians than Palestinians in the course of a just war. And the Palestinians have one of the lesser cases for a great deal of mercy, although the Israelis show them mercy. 85% of Palestine supports the wipeout that went on October 7th. And they're probably lying about the other 15%. I don't know a Palestinian that doesn't hate the Jewish people. and it just comes out. So whatever we're talking about here, Palestinian or not, you don't get to surround. You don't get to surround the hostages with civilians and then complain that the civilians were killed. Now, I don't even know how many were killed. We're relying on the numbers that were given to us by a terrorist group that has uniformly lied about this. What we do know is they outsmarted them, they outthought them, and they beat the living crap out of them. And they wiped out a lot of their leadership also, as well as whatever civilians may have collaterally been eliminated. This is one of the hostages that was taken out. Those are two Israeli soldiers surrounding him, not Palestinians. What they basically did was they went into the center of Gaza, because this is located pretty much in the center of Gaza. Here is I don't have my maps with me because we're on the road, but here is a map of Israel. Now, good. So as you see, Gaza takes up just a little portion of Israel right there. Okay, there's the rest of Israel. Now, you know there's war going on up here in the north with Hezbollah, and there's war going down here in the south with Hamas. So they crossed over about right here to head for the camp, where I'm sure they had plenty of inside information. And I did circle one of these camps. The Nazarot camp is right there inside Gaza. Now, the hostages were in two buildings in Nazarot. One was being held by a family that was Noah, the young woman who became somewhat famous when she was seen on October 7th being taken by the savages, and she was yelling and screaming and fighting back very, very effectively. She's a Israeli of Chinese origin, and her father has and her family has been talking about her for quite some time and praying for her and trying to get her back. She was placed in a home with one of the local Hamas leaders, and the three men were put in a building. I'm not sure the exact nature of it. I'm not as sure of the exact nature of it, but they had put another building across the street. So what the Israelis did was they went into the Nazarot camp, and simultaneously, there's the camp right here. It's about maybe 6 miles from the border. Their place they live, from which they were taken, is only right here. Well, now you're seeing her on the young lady on the 6th. Whoever thought we'd ever see her again, huh? Isn't that wonderful? I mean, isn't this? Forget all these communist bums and savages who want to talk about the civilians that are killed purposely by Hamas. And look at that young lady. That young lady was saved. She's back with her family. God bless the IDF. God bless Shin Bet. And God bless our soldiers that work with them to train them. Not that they need to be trained, but, we help each other. They develop better methods of extrication. We develop better methods of extrication. I've watched us train together. It's really a remarkable thing to watch. I tell you, if I was ever captured, can I just please come and get me? Come and get me. Don't let me stay there. If they're going to kill me, they're going to kill me. I'll help you. I'll help you try to get out. You come in, I'll try to get one of them. Okay? I'll do the best I can. I don't want to sit there with these animals. I'd rather take a shot at getting us out. You know, our percentages are in the 80s and 90%. Your chance. Well, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back. Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep green, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because we like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee. Well, it's really nice to have you all back on the Rudy Giuliani show, and I'm actually really happy today because of this extrication. I really am. I love to see these. I love to see us on offense, you know? I love to see us on offense. And I, over the course of time, have spent a lot of time with the Special Forces groups because many of them, specialize in extrication. And I really found it fascinating to study. And they were so generous with their time. I am very, very honored to tell you that at times I've been asked to give leadership lectures to our Special Forces. And it's actually humbling. First time I did it, I really felt weird. I felt like they should be giving it to me. And they explained to me why my leadership lectures would be valuable. They said, leadership is the same thing, the same principles emerge. And as I thought about it, I thought about the hockey coach that won the Stanley Cup for the Rangers the last time they won, and he was borrowing plays from soccer and reducing them to, the smaller. He actually showed me how he did it, and he said he did it because he actually thinks they have more strategic thinking that goes into soccer than hockey, and you get the benefit of that strategic thinking, and the people in the military said, the other disciplines, leadership is important, like in sports, like in business, like in law enforcement, like in government. And the more we can learn from all of that, the better. And you can learn from it. So working with them and watching them, I have tremendous confidence in their ability to carry out an extrication. And they will very, very openly tell you that much of what they learned initially came from Israel. And that Antibes thing is like, it's like MacArthur's, circumnavigating Korea and just about winning the Korean War until the communists had Truman cave in. It's one of the great military exploits. So this was wonderful to see them do it. The basics of this one were they had to know exactly what to hit. So they hit the two houses at once, same time, I believe. I'm not sure exactly how far away, but within that village area, compound area. But I think outside the camp, they hit another. They hit another facility where there were more soldiers, or more soldiers. They don't have soldiers, more animals, and they killed the animals there. So in other words, they incapacitated the people they would have brought in to help resist in the extrication of the hostages. They had the hostages in with civilians, so they'd be hard to find. They weren't like this is not like a prison camp. They have them in with civilians. One, make them hard to find. Two, so we have to pay the price of killing civilians if we extricate them. Maybe at this point we should harden ourselves to it And if we harden ourselves to it and we'll get them over it, like if you put civilians there, that's your fault. And we're not going to count. We're going to take those civilians out of the count. When the UN says we killed 2,000 civilians, we're going to say, no, you killed 1,500. We killed 500. Because if you stick a civilian in front of a hostage, you stick a civilian in front of my son and I'm trying to save him, I'm going to kill the civilian. Sorry, okay? You put him there. You put him in front of an American, I'm going to take him out. Well, you put him in front of an Israeli, and an Israeli will take him out. You're getting him killed. So this was a big win, and it really shows you the superiority of the Israeli defense force over these animals. These complete animals would have nothing if it wasn't for the fact that world opinion props them up, and the journalists and all the rest. Now, Biden wants to work things out with Saudi Arabia. He can have a peace deal with Saudi Arabia. That's going to really work well when he announced that Saudi Arabia is a renegade nation and the prince is a murderer. And I mean, I wonder. I mean, that's going to be whatever happens there. It's going to be in name only. There's no way the Saudis trust Biden. I wouldn't trust Biden, not with the things that he said and done, and the fact that he goes both ways all the time, back and forth. And also, who knows if he's even compos mentis? What did he do yesterday? Who did he get confused yesterday? He was in a different continent yesterday.
That's so President Biden, when he was apologizing. So we have video, Mayor. President Biden is attempting to apologize to Ukraine in a bizarre fashion. But the key point is here, he refers to
Ukraine because he's held them back from winning?
Yes, you know.
Because of the money he stole.
Yeah, we haven't given them enough money, right?
Well, has he apologized for the money that he and Hunter took?
To my knowledge, he has not.
Oh, okay.
But what he did do was refer to Ukraine as Iraq in yet another gaffe. Let's hear it.
Relations now, which some are talking about. I mean, the idea we had to wait all those months just to get the money for Iraq, and because we were waiting. I mean, it's not who we are. It's not.
2-1 back.
You realize how long the Iraq war is over? What the hell? How the hell did he get Iraq confused with Ukraine? Maybe Israel and Ukraine are going on at the same time. Iraq, by the way, Joe, is the country you sold us out to when you couldn't get the status of forces agreement, which led to the death of 2,000-3,000 people. You get a lot of people killed because you're a jackass, you know that, or a traitor. And then your brother got, James, that slimeball, got a part of a $1.5 billion housing contract, which I'm sure that one I haven't had a chance to trace down, but I'm willing to make kind of a bet that you got a piece of that one as part of that deal you have with your son where you get half of everything your son earns. I think you get half of what everybody earns, right? Isn't that the deal for the boss, the head of the crime family? Isn't that the way it works? But boy, you really are out of it. And that's a tough one to figure how you get those two confused. You know the amazing thing when he does that, Ted?
Yeah.
There's no recognition on his part. You know, look, sometimes you get a baseball team wrong. You think you're talking about the Reds and you're talking about the Red Sox. So you say, oh, I went to see the Reds. Oh, I mean the Red Sox.
Yeah.
I mean, you correct it right away. Yeah. It doesn't go get past. Yeah. And then, of course, it's also a question of it happens to everybody, not 15 times a day. No, I mean, this.
Please, you're president of the United States, right?
Like this off an airplane in Cambodia, and he thinks he's in Colombia. Come on, you got to be out of your mind for that to happen.
That's right.
We came off an airplane yesterday, right? After 3 tries, we knew where we were, right? It only took 3 tries for us to figure out where we were.
Well, yeah, I mean,
we're not telling anybody where we are. Until tonight. Until tonight.
Until tonight, and of course, we had a great time. You know, but we've been in Michigan, of course.
We're going to announce where we are.
Yeah.
You're going to be surprised.
No.
But in any event, yeah, we had a great time in your home state of Michigan.
That's right.
And a lot of positive vibrations for our team, huh?
That's right.
Would you say? Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah.
You got to see the Detroit. You got to experience the Detroit Symphony Orchestra.
I went to see the Detroit Symphony Orchestra do a really beautiful rendition of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, which was, of course, one of the most famous pieces of music ever done, but also a cello concerto by a composer named Weinberg, who I've never heard before. And he was a Russian composer who was enslaved by the Soviets, Jewish Russian, and wrote some beautiful music. But this one was written for the very famous Russian refugee Rostropovich, and Rostropovich, I imagine, was the first to play it, and a young man played it for the orchestra. And let's get his name before we go off, Ted, because he deserves mention. Yeah, he was remarkable. It's not solo; it's a concerto. So it's the cello and the orchestra. But he was. It's a big piece. I mean, it's really to feature the cellist, and of course, it was done for the greatest cellist in the world. So now you're talking about something to really have to live up to, and he did. And then he did a special piece called Mazel Tov, which I've never heard before, which comes from an album called Chicago or something. And during the piece, while he's playing it, and that was solo, right, Ted?
That's right.
That was solo. He whistled. He was whistling.
Oh. People love that. And
I think he was whistling, and it was filling the entire, because it's a beautifully organized concert hall, small enough so it has perfect acoustics like Carnegie Hall has and used to have, and Avery Fisher Hall never has had. You probably don't know, because I don't say it often enough, that along with my other passions, opera and classical music is one of them. Opera is 150%. Classical music is 120%, and it's really Western classical music, going back to chant and right through modern classical music. But maybe my favorite period, of course, is the period that starts with Bach through Bernstein. I told you in the piece that was done by Weinberg, you feel you can hear. It was also a cello. It was a cello concerto, I think, number 2, and you got a lot of strains there of Bernstein in West Side Story and some of the movie music he and his brother did. You have some strains of the music in On the Waterfront and music from that era. Eerily similar. Of course, they were all influenced by a lot of the same things. But we'll be right back, and we'll be back to after we had a chance to talk about some of the beauties in the world, the horrible, horrible damage that this monster in the White House has done to us. We'll be right back.
And going into break, we're going to play a short clip that we taped with permission from the Detroit Symphony Orchestra.
I don't know how you did this.
Break. And we're back. Break.
That was nice.
We're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
Okay, talking. And we're back. Welcome back.
Back, and let's take a few. Let's get a little flavor of the rescue. I mean, this is a very, very exciting development. When you can get your people out like this, oh gosh, it's such a lift in morale.
Central Gaza in broad daylight, with a spokesman saying they came under heavy fire. One Israeli soldier died.
A dramatic rescue, and she's free again. 25-year-old Noah Argamani, captured by Hamas on the 7th of October and taken to Gaza, is finally back in Israel. She became one of the most well-known faces of this crisis, her kidnapping recorded in this video. Today, her ordeal came to an end. This is her reunited with her dad.
Please don't forget that there are another 120 hostages in captivity. We
Good
must
people,
release them and make every effort in
Israeli
any way to
Defense
bring them to
Forces?
Israel and
Is
their
that what I can
families.
say? I gotta
Israeli Defense Forces, yeah.
save hostages.
Yeah, Israeli Defense Forces. You know, it was a combination of them and Shin Bet, but Shin Bet doesn't need credit. They,
21.
they're sort of like this.
8 months ago, they were in the Nova Music Festival in southern Israel when Hamas gunmen attacked. More than 360 people were killed here. This morning, the Israeli military carried out a raid of the Nuseirat refugee camp in central Gaza. There were heavy airstrikes. Special forces went in. The military said this was a complex operation and based on intelligence information. The 4 hostages, it said, were found at 2 separate locations in the heart of the camp and were brought out under fire.
Israeli forces have been preparing for this rescue mission for weeks. They underwent intensive training. They risked their lives to save the lives of our hostages.
The Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, visited the freed hostages in a hospital near Tel Aviv. He's been urged to reach a ceasefire and hostage release deal with Hamas. Today's rescue could help lift
About how his brother died in something like this, or he almost died in something like this. And it would be true, by the way. He's talking about them because he's a real guy, man, mensch. Not like the piece of crap in the White House and the first stepmother, Navy's grandmother. So I'm reading this from the Post, and thank you to Carrie Keller-Lynn, Eduardo Kaplan, and Michael Ammon for writing this. It's just 2 paragraphs. I just happen to like the way it was written. The raid threw a cloud over a Biden administration effort to strike a ceasefire between Israel and the animals of Hamas. It says Hamas, actually. That would free the remaining 116 hostages abducted in October and a number of Palestinian prisoners. So here are the ones that were freed now. Noah Argamani, 26. You saw Noah. Noah was the young lady who was taken. She's now back with her family. Thank you. Thank you, God. Alagmir John, only 22, beginning of his life has been saved. Thank you, Bibi. Andrei Kozlov, only 27. Again, a life saved. And Shlomo Ziv, 41. And boy, in this age, that's a young man. All rescued, all back with their family. Think we're going to have a president next year who will do this for us? I think so. We're going to vote for a president who has the balls to do this for us. Give us a chance to rescue our people. But by the time we get them back, are they all going to be dead or weighing 12 pounds? The daring operation in the light of day, said Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari. Gee, when do we ever say that? Yeah, like Afghanistan, we turned tail and ran and left our people behind to be killed and other people behind to be killed. It was conducted in a dense urban environment, resulted in an enormous number of dead and injured, according to the Palestinians. Hamas called the operation brutal and barbaric. You're holding hostages. That's brutal and barbaric. You've been told 1,000,000 times to give up those hostages. We are entitled to do anything we want to you if you continue to hold our hostages. So we still have a lot left, 120 or so, maybe more. Question is, we also keep finding out about dead ones. So the reality is we don't know. According to the off-the-record information, Americans did help with intelligence, maybe without Biden and Blinken knowing. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? And one of the people killed was an Al Jazeera journalist who was using his house to hold one of the hostages, Abdallah al-Jamal, who was a typical, Palestinian journalist who wanted to see the destruction of Israel. And I'm sure they're listing him with the civilians that were killed, but no, he was a hostage taker and keeper. I think Gantz, who seems to have the worst timing of any politician in history, Benny Gantz, quit the cabinet just as this was happening. What a jackass. Walks out of the cabinet and they've got this great victory that I know, and knowing the people of Israel, this will enhance their feeling of confidence in Bibi. Look, let's face it. They're not shook up with this Biden stuff. They know Biden. They don't like Biden. They love Trump the way they love Reagan, the way they love me. When you're not Jewish and you support Israel with your heart and soul, the Israeli people love you. Of course they do, right? Think about it. If you're a member of a group and you expect your group to support you, but it is quite unusual when the others do, and they're very, very loving and loyal people. There's no amount of words that I can say of admiration for the Israeli people. No amount of words. Got to be in a foxhole, and we are in a foxhole with them. That's who I want to be a foxhole with, not with any of the Biden boys and girls. Thank you. So the Biden trial came to an end today, as you imagine. Joe, all the garbage about he's going to testify. What's he going to do? Testify, contradict what he has on tape and on emails and texts and stuff like that. They're still keeping out all the good stuff, huh? Nothing coming in about how half his income went to his father. Nothing about how he's a danger to his niece and nephew. Nothing about how he was sexually inappropriate with them, and that his drug addiction was a real danger to them, so that he isn't this just benign drug addict. Poor little Poor little Hunter doesn't hurt anybody but himself. Yeah, and the children whose home he's in, where he is constantly using drugs and while on drugs, walking around nude, carrying them around while he's doing that, and talking to prostitutes, and involved in what are undescribed by the psychiatrist inappropriate activity with the underage children, something that Joe seems to have had no interest in and did nothing to stop. So now it's over. The first stepmother was sitting there taking notes. You know, I call her the first stepmother because of the cruel way in which she treats her step granddaughter, Navy, who she has never really acknowledged, who she went out of her way to hurt by not including her stocking with the other grandchildren, 6 stockings instead of 7. And then when she got slammed for it, the political weasel, instead of just putting up a stocking for the kid, decided, we're not going to have stockings this year. And now I'm shocked to see that Joe never met the baby. I'm not sure Hunter has.
Yeah. And Mayor, you're not surprised by that fact. I mean, as a man, you are, because that's like the antithesis of how you would act. But we're not, knowing this family the way you do, you're not surprised by that. But I know what you mean. By instinct, right? It seems almost anti-human, but
No, but I mean, politicians are narcissistic, but this narcissistic. I mean, this is like narcissism in capital letters with bold print and neon lights, in which, my God, you know, it's gonna, if we acknowledge the baby.
crazy, right?
And of course, it does great damage to the child. So that's why I even resent all this. Oh, but you know, Joe's really a good guy. He's not a good guy. He's our worst president, and he's approaching evil. He definitely is. Of course, he's destroyed our country with 4 or 5 different things that he's done. Afghanistan is one. Afghanistan led to all those hundreds of thousands of people being killed in Ukraine, all of whom would be alive today if Trump had remained president. But what about the migrants that are coming in, the aliens? I don't know how many have come in. Could be 10 million, could be 12 million. We've got people dying of fentanyl left and right, record numbers. And now we have these migrant moped gangs. One of them, I mean, they got a little more attention because one of the members of them shot 2 New York City police officers last week. But up until then, he'd been going around the city on his moped, stealing whatever he could grab from people. And it's a specialty of the Trans-Aragua gang from Venezuela, where crime has declined markedly and been transported to New York. And the crazy houses have been left out, and they've been sent to New York. And this is one of their big crimes. Well, the New York City Police Department doesn't take long to figure out a strategy for dealing with it. And the strategy they utilize, do we have a picture of it, Ted?
Which one?
The one where the cop tackles one of these animals?
You will. We'll put that up in a second here.
Okay, so what the cops figure the best thing they can do, these guys are not the biggest guys. And the cops they're using seem to be like the guys that play on a football team. And probably they're practicing their tackling. So when these guys come by, the cops are hanging around and boom, they hit them, grab them, pull them off, cuff them, and get them out. Of course, the Bragg then gives them lunch, not dinner. You don't stay that long. No bail. Lets them out and gives them their keys back for their moped, so they don't lose too much time in doing another one quickly. Because the thing that Bragg is good at is not only getting them out on the street, but he uses up very, very little of their productive time, so that if they sell drugs, they don't get a big interruption, just like 3, 4, 5 hours. That's the new progressive thought now. You get, I think you get the Soros Prosecutor of the Year award, not just based on how many criminals you let out, but how quickly do you do it? That's the real key, because if you let them out quickly, you can destroy our society even faster, which is, after all, Marx's goal. So he turns them around quickly, gets them right out there. Some of these guys have been arrested 4, 5, 6 times. Now, Ruben Silva, Jose Ruben Silva, is the subject really of a manhunt now, because he shot and he killed 2 people in Fordham Heights. And he is a major moped. He's a major moped criminal. So these guys are not, and so is Castro. Castro's beating people up, beat up a woman. These are not just, this is one of the things they do. They're also extremely violent criminals sent to us thanks to the Maduro, the communist dictator of Venezuela. And thanks to Joe having a nice open door. Now, you remember Joe was going to crack down on the border. Well, the crackdown, first of all, was going to be, should he stick to his very, very strict numbers, he would set up years with a higher number of illegal immigration than we'd ever had before him. In other words, his accepted illegal immigration would be higher than illegal immigration under any president of the United States: Trump, Prince Obama, Bush, Clinton, Reagan. And it just regularized. It's like pulling the wool over your eyes. You know, he must really think we're as stupid as he is. It's never worked on me because, gosh, he's easy. I mean, you all you are working with twice his IQ. So basically, you can say there's one article here, one of these online things, Biden border bullshit. Border bullshit is what it says. So
go back and quickly show the pic there. I want to show you.
Which one? Oh yeah, great. Wonderful.
That's a different one than the one we saw.
No, that's pretty good though, right? It looks like he's making a tackle for the Giants. And look at that skinny. I mean, that kid's no match for him. Look at that skinny little bum.
Yeah.
He can't take somebody on one-on-one.
Yeah.
The one of our cops with this guy one-on-one.
Another one's better because he got him like. That's a real Giants tackle. This is more of a Jets tackle. The guy might actually get away from this one.
Yeah, the Jets could use them. They're not doing well during anything. Well, they got to attack real men, not little skinny links like that.
Right.
Little pieces of crap. Remember when Trump got into trouble calling them animals? Boy, he sure looks good now, doesn't he? Doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, he didn't say all of them either, right? It's funny how the media likes to.
No, but there's a lot of them, I'll tell you. So this weekend, as the crackdown began, we only had about 10,000 that came in. Was there supposed to be 2,500, Ted? I think we got somewhere around 10,000 that came in. Yeah, some bullshit.
Yeah.
Biden's latest crackdown is a total fake. I mean, among other things, if you want to avoid it, you just go online and make an appointment, and he'll let you in illegally. You just say, get me the asylum documents. Oh, in case you don't know what to say, if you get there, they have actually forms that tell you how to lie. They say, if you want to get in, say you want asylum, you have to say you're in fear of persecution, if you return. So you have to say. You just go. Fear, political persecution. Then if you get it wrong, the agent will fill it in for you just the right way. And if you come from China and he asks you, are you a Chinese spy? No Chinese spy. No spy. Come for food. Yeah. Come for a good Chinese restaurant. I don't know, did we get a picture of this cave? This is sort of a off the beaten track thing. It just gives you an idea of the kind of awful city that Adams has given us. But this guy, Jonathan Cave, out of nowhere, he's some kind of a billionaire, just started beating up this woman. But he says, here's his defense. Jonathan Cave is
How do you
the
spell his name?
Kave.
Ah, okay.
So he's a millionaire investment banker in Manhattan, and some woman got in his way. And the video, apparently, if we can get it, maybe we'll have it for tonight. The video doesn't show what really leads up to it. You're not going to get much of a defense for this, though. And then he starts beating her up. He broke the woman's nose. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing. He broke the woman's nose, and then he broke some guy's arm. And his defense was, she effing threw SHIT all over me. And then the onlookers call him an asshole and a horrible person. He lives in a $4 million Park Slope townhouse. He's obviously angry about something. And he says she threw shit at him.
Yeah, I can't find. I gotta look this up because I'm not finding.
See if we can see.
Well,
if,
during the let's take
see
a break,
if we
maybe.
can find it.
Yeah.
See if we can find it, because it is sort of an indication of the random violence that we get now. And this, to me, is a little different than what I remember when I had to fight crime in New York. So we'll be back very, very shortly with the mayor's final thoughts, and we'll talk a little about tonight's show. To live his honest promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us. Heroes who risked their lives to keep our communities and our country safe. Heroes like United States Marine Corps Captain and pilot John Jeremy Sachs. Captain Sachs sustained fatal injuries when his military aircraft crashed during training, killing him and 5 other service members. He's remembered by loved ones as courageous, brilliant, and devoted to his career, family, and friends. John is survived by his wife, Amber, who gave birth to their second daughter 3 months after his death. Tunnel to Towers paid the mortgage on the family home for Amber and their 2 daughters. The foundation has helped over 1,000 military and first responder families navigate the worst of times by removing the burden of a mortgage payment. Our nation's heroes and their families need your help now more than ever. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. T2T.org. That's T, the number 2T.org. T2T.org. Please donate now.
One. Fuck that.
We're back for the mayor's final thoughts, brought to you and sponsored by, do you know, Tunnel Towers prefers sponsored by. So this has been going on for months. So I say sometimes brought to you by, then I do sponsored by, because I know they prefer it. And I love them so much. I don't want anything. I want it done exactly. They may have it. They may have some research that one works better than, I mean, they have very good people. Wow. I mean, in all respects. And think of what they're doing. Just a reminder, every once in a while, we should go in a little more detail with a little reminder of what they do. And around holidays like, Memorial Day and D-Day and 4th of July coming up, this is the time where that money should start flowing out of your pockets into them. $11 a month will get you into a situation where you'll be helping if, God forbid, a uniformed member is killed or is catastrophically injured. Then they'll be there. Frank and his people will be there to pay off the mortgage, to build a smart home. They'll also work. Oh my goodness, they'll work better than anyone on trying to reduce the problem of homelessness for our veterans. Um, I mean, there just is no better organization. No better organization. You know, we have been warning, and when I say we, I mean myself and our little team here, Dr. Maria and Ted and Mike and Rob, and I mean, one of the things that we talk a lot about is fentanyl, right? All of us, one way or another. And to me, I never thought the drug problem could be worse than when I was dealing with it. Not even so much when I was an assistant U.S. attorney and in charge of the drug unit. That would be more or less like the French Connection days. But I thought it was worse during the crack period when I became U.S. attorney almost simultaneously with the outbreak of crack. In fact, for the longest time, people didn't know what crack was, and I went out and bought it in the streets with Al D'Amato and with the head of probation. We went out and we did a controlled buys, purpose of which was to get attention from Congress to get more money for DEA. The head of DEA put us up to doing it, and we got a lot of credit and we got a lot of attack for doing it. I never understood why we were being attacked for doing it. They said, "Oh, we were being melodramatic," or I don't know. But it wasn't getting through that there was this new form of much more dangerous kind of drug. We had been used to, over the years, marijuana, thought of as rather benign. Turns out, unfortunately, after all the legalizing of cannabis, that marijuana may not be so darn benign. It may, in fact, be really dangerous for your brain. And I always thought that. I mean, I always thought it from the reactions I would see people have, and also just basic research on drugs that I had to do in order to prosecute them. Although I never spent much time on marijuana, I always thought that this is, I don't know, I think we're overdoing it with this. It's not, it doesn't really hurt you. It hurts you a lot. But in any event, you know, the emphasis was on heroin and cocaine, and there was a lot of it. And we had terrible problems. Then when it went to crack, it just ballooned because the impact of it was much more powerful. The addictive nature of it much more powerful, and even the fatalities much greater. And then, of course, when fentanyl came along, fentanyl is a real killer in the sense that you usually in the old days before fentanyl and now before this new one, Trank, you pretty much have to produce an overdose. In other words, you'd have to take a lot of drugs. We know people commit suicide with drug. We know about celebrities who commit suicide with drug overdoses or come close to it. They take 10 pills. God forbid they had taken 12, they would have died or whatever. Here's the thing about fentanyl. Fentanyl fake you out. You can think you're taking a relatively small amount of drugs. You may even be thinking you're taking a kind of a substitute for an over-the-counter, not over-the-counter, but a prescription drug, you know, a painkiller or a one that works on your nervous system or whatever. And they stick a little fentanyl in there, a little too much. You're either going to have a convulsion, you're going to faint, or you can die. Children have died of it. Animals have died of it. People who deal in seizing it all, we've had occasional deaths just from inhaling it. Now there's another form of drug. The official name of it is xylazine, but its nickname is Trank because it's an animal tranquilizer. An animal tranquilizer, and apparently it's much more powerful than fentanyl. And therefore, you can get yourself the massive high that you want cheaper, and you can spread it faster, and the dealer can make more money. But like fentanyl, it has a very, very narrow margin of error. You know, if you take any drug, if you take it and it's too powerful, whether it's heroin or cocaine, or it's going to kill you, but it's got to be really, really powerful. These, if you make a little mistake in the cutting of it, you're going to kill people. And trank doesn't just kill you. Trank has the effect of destroying your body, destroying your skin. You become necrotic. So you'll see people now who are drug addicts, and you'll see them walking around, and their limbs are like falling apart, and I don't know. It looks like their skin is just falling off their bodies and dying that way. But before it does that, it has this effect of giving you a very big, giant, powerful high for very little cause and for a very small amount. And it is now being used effectively. And do you know where it's purchased from? Take a guess. China. China. Ha 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 ha. Joe Biden's employer. Joe Biden's briber. Joe Biden, 30 bill. They're getting a lot out of that 30 bill, huh? They really are. They got Joe by the short ones, don't they? Yeah. And so does Zelensky. I love that picture of him and Zelensky shaking hands with each other, and Zelensky saying, Joe, you don't want me to show those other pictures, do you, right now when Hunter's on trial? You know there are much worse pictures than the ones they're showing. You wouldn't want me to show those, would you? Or how about those? I put out the transcript of those conversations you had with Poroshenko about the bribes he was going to get and the bribes you were going to get. You don't want me to put those. I did a good job of keeping those from Trump, didn't I? I mean, right. Yes, Ted.
So I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Well, what the heck? You're quick on your feet. Our friend Dan Goldman replied to the tweet we put out. He's getting a little nervous, so I want to put it up on the screen for you, real quick here.
Dan, the new Shifty Shift.
Yeah, the silly congressman who wants to play. He wants to.
So he's reviving the charge. He was reviving the charge that I'm a Russian. Yeah. What am I? Russian plant or pawn? Or
yeah. So let's take a look at
a Russian plant.
We just have a couple. Oh, we actually only have 2 minutes, so maybe we'll show it, but we might have to respond to it tonight.
Okay, but yeah,
just because of timing here.
What did Dan say? I'm sure I don't even have to look at it to know it's untrue.
Right. Right. We play screen share. Here we go. I just want to play this real quick. If we can.
Write it out, or did he appear?
Wrote it out, which is what?
It's too bad, because it's good to watch him, because you can see he's lying.
Here it is.
When you look at him, he's got that liar's face.
So there's Dan here. So we'll reply to this tonight. We have just 1 minute left, but I wanted you to see this.
So what did he say? I can't see it, Ted. It's all too small here.
Small.
Oh, what part is false at Rudy Giuliani that you associate with Russian spies?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't. It's been a long time since last time I had anything to do with Russian spies, you asshole. I was in the Justice Department doing Pfizer applications to catch them. You know, idiot, I'm a lot more of a patriot than you are, and I've done a hell of a lot more for my country than you have.
And again, tune in tonight for a full response. Here's another part of the question.
You refused to give your hard drive?
Yes. Very false.
Actually, I did.
Yeah. And they cite Mother Jones of all places. These are silly people. Oh my gosh! And then, or that the New York Post did no. All right, we don't even. That's not up. That last one was just a.
How do you know they didn't do any forensic analysis?
That's not even on us to respond to, right? That's on the New York Post. So.
But he's wrong about all of it.
Yeah, but he's sweating. He is sweating. He responds for a reason.
Guy like that never sweats. He's a pathological liar. You know, some of these guys actually. I don't know if he fits in that category, but I've had, obviously, as a prosecutor, a lot of experience with them. I mean, he prosecuted a couple of little pussy ant cases, but he wasn't a real prosecutor like I was. These guys don't know they're lying, some of them. I think he does. I don't know him well enough to know if he's, Biden is in that, could be in that category. Well, I have a special meeting I'm going to, which I'm going to report on tonight. You'll be interested in it. And so listen at 8 o'clock tonight on X and on YouTube and on Rumble. Listen on Rumble. Rumble's a lot of fun, and Getter's a lot of fun. Got a lot of good people like you on Rumble, on Getter, and on X, of course. And you can also get us on Facebook and QUX.
Getter, QUX, Newsmax 2.
Well, but Newsmax 2, you don't get us until the next day. So if you want to get an update on my special meeting this afternoon, which is going to be fun, we'll report on it. We'll report on it.
8 o'clock Eastern tonight.
8 o'clock Eastern tonight. Pray for Israel. Pray for the U.S. and God bless America.